Were there any girls in ancient Greek mythology? Well, no, not really. Everyone tended to just stab each other in the back, regardless of their gender. So, at least they were kind of consistent and equal in that regard. However, what about Greek tragedy? Because there's a comedy, well, actually there might be a couple, but for the sake of this video, we're going to discuss the comedy by the ancient Greek playwright Aristophanes. And this play or this comedy quote poses a question: what if the women took over the Athenian government? Because perhaps this play does give us a glimpse of the girls story, you know, where women unite to shake up the status quo. Now, this play was called Women in the Assembly, or well, actually it was called this Greek name that I don't want to butcher. And it was unusual even among Aristophanes' comedies. Written in around 392 BC, the play came just a few years after Athens was defeated in the Peloponnesian War, which I think was like about 9 years or so prior. But anyway, don't quote me on that. In any case, the city was reeling from the loss, and not just in terms of lives and resources, but also political trust. This was a period when the Athenians were trying to rebuild while also dealing with blame and dissatisfaction with their leaders. Imagine the political environment: bitter, cynical, and more than a little bit desperate. Then, into this mix, Aristophanes threw his outrageous satire where women who in Athenian society weren't even allowed to participate in politics decide that they've had enough. Led by Praxagora, the women dress up as men, sneak into the all-male assembly and vote themselves into power. And what do? They turn Athens into a sort of utopian commune. All property, wealth, and even romantic relationships are shared equally. Now, at first glance, this sounds pretty revolutionary. We've got women coming together, seizing power, and introducing a completely new political system. And if we think of it in terms of girls and sisterhood solidarity, Praxagora and her friends certainly fit that mold. They're literally taking matters into their own hands and looking out for each other. But Aristophanes didn't exactly give us a straightforward celebration of girl power. In fact, it's likely that Aristophanes was more interested in using women as a vehicle for poking fun at Athenian society. So how does Aristophanes represent these women? In typical Greek comedy fashion, they're witty, a bit rowdy, and more than a little bit cheeky. They discuss everything from household chores to their dreams of transforming the city. They're united, yes, but they're also exaggerated, almost caricatures of how men in Athens thought of women. In the world of the play, these women might just be able to run things better than the men, but they're also depicted as somewhat naive. Which brings us to Aristophanes' motivations. Why write this play at the time that he did? Athens was a mess politically and socially. The men in power had failed, and many